Got all the control surfaces covered with the last coat except for the lower door half. I was spraying on the last cross coat on it. It came off of its hanger and fell down on the floor. I just started spraying it when it fell off. I wiped it off and got most of it off, but a couple little spots on there I'm going to have to hit with sandpaper. But everything else is all done. Got all 3 cross coats on there. It looks pretty darn good. Well, I sanded between each one of the coats. I sanded the first one because I had little fuzzies and crap on them and wanted to get those knocked down, and then the second coat was a lot better, but it still had a few little spots on it that I knocked down, and this last coat is pretty darn good. I'll let those set up overnight here, and then I'll start transferring them down or back up to the basement to hang up. Just got to do one more, I guess you'd say, a half a coat on that lower door half, but I just got to do it one more time and get all this stuff out of here and then start getting ready to get the fuselage down here. I think the weather's supposed to turn around and get better, though I hadn't done anything with the fuselage for a while. I did do some ironing on the tapes and stuff on it, on the pinks, but it has to be masked. Well, I haven't done that yet because I didn't want to do it and then bring it down here in the rain. All those controls have had enough time to cure on there with their last coat of poly spray put on. So I'm going to go ahead and take them out of the paint booth here and take them back up to the hangar, or up to the basement rather, and hang them up there out of the way, and then get the fuselage ready and bring it down here, do the poly finish on it. I want to wait to do the finish coat color on everything until I get all the poly done on everything. We'll have one of these and take it up to the basement. Hang it up with these up from one of those nails in that center post, that main beam in the basement for now. And then we got to clean that bench off and lay those towels out, and then we can lay it on there and take all that tape off of it. Okay. Got the control surfaces out of here. Oh, I need to get that door half and clean it up. That's what I dropped yesterday. The last thing I was doing before I finished was doing the last coat on it, last cross coat on it actually. So I'm gonna go ahead and go over it. It's not too bad. I cleaned off most of just had some dust on it from where it fell on there, which basically was overspray. I got most of that off with just a cloth, but some of it was kind of stuck in the damp paint, the poly spray that was wet on there. So I'm going to go over that with some sandpaper and knock the rough stuff off of it and stuff and get it smoothed out, and then wash it up with acrylic clean, and then put my final coat on that before I take it up to the basement to put it away. Those other control surfaces, the hinges on those are like 3/16 pins, and so I was able to get a couple of those. I put 1/8" welding wire through them and made hangers for them out of that, and then I decided that didn't need to go that big, so I went with the 3/32 welding wire. This door half, the hinge pins on it only use 3/32 size wire for the hinge pins, and they were kind of tight getting those that welding wire through there, so I didn't get them stuck through all the way, and I thought I had them stuck in there pretty good, but just moving around and spraying on that caused them to work out, so it fell off of there. We'll see if I can't do something for that. I changed my hang-up point on that door and get it out here a little farther where it was a little easier to get around and stuff. I took the sandpaper and knocked the rough spots off of it. It wasn't really that bad, but anyway, I knocked the rough spots off of it and stuff, and then wiped it down with a cloth and washed it down with acrylic clean and let it dry, and turned my exhaust fan on in here so it vent out, and let the acrylic clean flash off. And I got a little bit more poly spray and put a coat on there. I don't really need to put another coat on there, because that would have been the last coat anyway, but I went ahead and let that flash off a little bit, and I'm going to put another coat on there just because I did sand it a little bit and stuff. It's probably good enough, but it is kind of a pain because with all the other pieces in here, I could start at one end and go to the other end and spray each part, and by the time I got down to the other end, then I could turn around and come back and start on the first end again and go back through it, and everything had been flashed off enough to put the second coat on. But with just this one piece in here, you just gotta give it time, about 10 minutes or so. Well, the controls are hanging back up in there where they've been for the last 3 years. They look a little bit different now that they're not skeletons anymore. The only thing that's not up there is the door half. I'll get it up here. After it cures, I put my last coat on it after cleaning it up. Well, now I got to work on the airframe and mask it. I hadn't done it because I wasn't sure what the weather was going to be like when it come time to take it down to the hangar, and I didn't want to get it wet and messed up and have to do it over again. But we're supposed to have some windows where it's not going to be raining for the next off and on for the next few days. So I want to go ahead and mask that, at least the inside of it, mask off all the places we don't want paint, and mask off the places we don't want poly spray and poly brush. And then we can get that on the bogey wheels that I made up and try to get it out of the basement here.